America is not ready for what's coming. In the dead of night, Israeli fighter jets just launched a precision strike deep inside of Iran, eliminating a high-ranking Revolutionary Guard commander believed to be the mastermind behind arming Hamas, Hezbollah, and even sleeper agents inside the United States. The world barely had any time to blink before the retaliation threats started pouring in. But here's the part that nobody's telling you. Iran's revenge may not come from missiles over Tel Aviv. It may come from your own neighborhood. Now, according to White House briefings obtained in just the last 24 hours, multiple U.S. cities are now under surveillance for potential sleeper cell activation. Now, I know a lot of people are getting alarmed. A lot of people are scared. I just want to share this information with you to make sure that your city hopefully is not on this list. But if it is, you let me know. Guys, we're talking about trained operatives here who have been waiting years for a single signal. Now, that signal may have just been sent. President Trump is weighing a full-scale retaliatory strike on Iran's nuclear facilities. The clock is ticking, so the question now is no longer if Iran will hit back. It's really more a matter of when and whether America is going to be next. Now, stick with me, guys, because we got a lot to cover, specifically exactly who was killed in the Israeli strike and why it matters, why the White House believes Iranian and Chinese operatives are already here on U.S. soil. We're going to talk about the full list of cities flagged by the FBI. Let me know if you're on this list. And also Putin, what Putin said just recently that is sending shockwaves through military intelligence, and the one terrifying reason that this moment looks identical to how both World War I and World War II began. Let me know if you think World War III is on the cusp of beginning. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you appreciate these daily news updates, hit the like button, share this immediately, and don't blink, because by the end of this video, you're going to understand exactly why the White House is bracing and why the rest of the world may be asking, is America next? So let's go back to where this all began, because this wasn't just another airstrike in the Middle East. This was a deliberate, game-changing move by Israel, designed to send a message not just to Iran, but to the entire world. In the early hours of June 20th, 2025, Israeli F-16s pierced Iranian airspace, and they dropped precision munitions on a target deep inside the town of Qum, which is a site long believed to be a covert commander hub for Iranian Revolutionary Guard. Now, this wasn't just about hunting a bunker. The target was Saeed Izadahi, one of the most feared and elusive commanders in Iran's military hierarchy, often referred to as the architect of the October 7th massacre. Now, I want you to understand that this is the man who funneled advanced weaponry into Gaza, advised Hezbollah strike teams, and coordinated logistical routes for smuggling arms to the Houthis in Yemen. Guys, he didn't just fund terror, he engineered it. I want you to understand who this guy is. And Israel just took him out. Reports from IDF intelligence confirm that Izadahi was struck while in the transit between two fortified locations in a convoy believed to be protected by Iran's top-tier Quds force operatives. His death, according to Israeli officials, is being called a decapitation strike because he wasn't just a commander. He was a critical nerve center connecting Iran's leadership to its proxy armies across the region. And Israel didn't stop there. In fact, in a separate wave of operations, Israeli pilots conducted around-the-clock bombing campaigns that reportedly disabled nearly half of Iran's active military infrastructure, an unprecedented military blow. So this is not just tit-for-tat warfare anymore. This is a preemptive unraveling of Iran's military capability, and it may have just shattered the balance holding back global war. Because while the headlines are focused on what Israel did to Iran, the world should be asking what Iran is about to do next. Now, if Medicare has you confused, overcharged, or feeling stuck, you're not alone. But now you've actually got someone who can fix what the system messed up. Julie from Kansas, She trusted a local broker and got pushed into a plan that charged her more to see her own doctor. Chapter helped her switch to a better plan, and she's now saving $400 a year. Catherine Garcia, she shared this message with me on a previous YouTube video. They were caring, compassionate, and incredibly helpful. I actually talked to a real person. I'm all taken care of and owe absolutely nothing. All paid for. Wow. Now, if you've been burned, confused, or just left in the dark, guys, Chapter is how you take back control. Give our friends at Chapter a call. Phone numbers in the description or in the pinned comment down below. You should also see it on your screen, or visit them on the web at askchapter.org/Ron. No pressure, no confusion, just real help from real people who know how to fix it. Oh, and then I mentioned their service is totally free. You can literally just call them up and say, hey, Ron told me to call you. Can you just give me some advice real quick? Yeah. And see how much money you can save. Can't wait to hear from you guys. All right. Within hours of the Israeli strike, Iran's foreign ministry issued a direct threat to the United States. If the U.S. chooses to stand with Israel militarily or green lights a strike of its own, Iran will retaliate not just in the Middle East, but on American soil. This is not speculation, ladies and gentlemen. This is a publicly declared warning broadcast across Iranian state media and confirmed by U.S. intelligence briefings. And it wasn't just rhetoric, guys. According to senior administration officials inside the Trump White House, credible chatter has already been intercepted, chatter pointing to a potential activation of Iranian-backed sleeper cells in the United States. These are operatives who've been quietly embedded for years, waiting, watching, preparing. And they may have just received their trigger that they've been waiting for. President Donald J. Trump, now fully re-engaged with his national security team, has reportedly been briefed on multiple contingency plans. He has not yet signed off on a direct U.S. strike on Iran's nuclear facilities like the underground Fordow complex. But according to sources very close to the White House, the president has, in fact, given provisional approval for military action, pending further intelligence. So that means that the clock is now ticking. A 2-week window. That is how long the Trump administration has allocated for final risk assessments, coalition coordination, and battleground logistics. And while the Pentagon prepares for a possible confrontation in the Gulf, the FBI and Homeland Security are racing to address the threat right here at home, guys. This is not just about missiles over the Strait of Hormuz anymore. This is about explosives in U.S. cities, sabotage of infrastructure, or even targeted assassinations from networks already in place. Now, of course, we need to talk about this entire list of U.S. cities that are currently under federal surveillance for suspected sleeper cell activity. Now, if you live in one of these areas, you need to know. Also, make sure you share this video because there are folks out here that have no clue about what we're preparing for in the future. I'll just leave it to you like that. And if you think that this is just some fear mongering, just wait until you hear which officials Iran has already tried to assassinate inside U.S. borders. All of that and more in just a second, guys. So let's just go ahead and stop pretending that this is just about Iran and it's just about Israel, because it's not. Guys, while missiles are lighting up the skies over in the Middle East, federal agencies right here in the United States are quietly bracing for something far more terrifying. We're talking about an attack from within. And the scariest part, they already know where it might happen. In a very confidential threat assessment that was leaked last fall and now reaffirmed just this week, the FBI has placed dozens of U.S. cities under enhanced surveillance due to known or suspected Iranian sleeper cell activity. These aren't vague suspicions. These are confirmed cities where Iranian-linked operatives, many with connections to Hezbollah, Islamic Jihad, and the IRGC, have either established safe houses, forged ID networks, or received wire transfers from overseas. So here are just a few of the cities that are currently on the list: New York, Washington, D.C., Los Angeles, San Diego, San Francisco, Houston, Dallas, Arlington, Chicago, Cleveland, Boston, Philadelphia, Tampa, Orlando, Boca Raton, Fort Lauderdale, Seattle, Denver, Oklahoma City, Tucson, Detroit, Kansas City, Columbia, Charlotte, Raleigh, and Springfield. Now, unfortunately, the list does not stop there. These cities span coast to coast. It's not isolated, it's coordinated. According to the Department of Homeland Security, these operatives are believed to be pre-positioned for retaliatory activation in the event of U.S. engagement in Iran. That moment could be now. And if you think Iran wouldn't dare attack inside the U.S., think again, guys. So we now know that Iranian intelligence agents operating on U.S. soil have already tried to assassinate President Donald J. Trump, former Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, former National Security Advisor John Bolton, and Iranian-American journalist Masai Alihan, a vocal critic of the regime. Now, these were not vague threats. These were active plots with surveillance conducted near their homes, plans for kidnapping and execution, and foreign funding trails traced directly to the Islamic Revolution Guard Corps. So in one particular case, the operative told investigators he was receiving orders directly from the IRGC and was instructed to finish the job quickly. And yet, under the previous administration, some of these same individuals were granted clemency or even allowed to remain in the United States, even after multiple warnings from the intelligence community. Yeah. So under President Donald Trump, that posture has completely changed. The DOJ, led by new leadership, has ramped up surveillance, frozen assets tied to foreign proxy networks, and directed the FBI to elevate threat response to tier 1 in all cities on sleeper cell lists. But here's the truth, guys. If these sleeper cells get the activation code, law enforcement may not be able to stop all of them in time. And this brings us to something that's even more dangerous. Because as these threats are mounting and the United States walks that line between caution and confrontation, two major world powers are making moves of their own. China and Russia. Silent no longer, guys. The mystery flights, the oil ties, the quiet coordination behind Iran's back. Yeah, we need to talk about that. So while the media plays catch up and politicians scramble to issue statements, something way more calculated is unfolding behind the scenes. And it's not just Iran anymore. Two nuclear-armed powers, China and Russia, are now circling the battlefield, not with flags and speeches, but with planes now. So in just the last 72 hours, multiple Chinese 747 cargo aircraft have been spotted leaving Beijing airfields and landing at military-run airstrips inside of Iran. Military data confirms the flight paths, but the contents of those planes is still unknown. Now, intelligence sources are saying that these were not humanitarian flights. These were not diplomats or journalists. These were unmarked military transports at a time when Iran's top generals are getting wiped out and the regime is openly threatening the United States. So, what's on those planes? Is it weapons? Are there drone components on there? Biological agents? Or worse, nuclear materials? Well, unfortunately, we don't have confirmation yet, but senior Trump administration officials have told Fox and News Nation that these flights match the same profiles as those used to transfer dual-use military tech between China and North Korea just months before the Korean ICBM breakthrough in 2022. Let me repeat, guys. The U.S. and its allies do not know what was on those planes. And while the Pentagon investigates those shipments are already inside of Iranian borders. So meanwhile, the Kremlin just broke its silence. On June 20th, speaking from an economic forum in St. Petersburg, Vladimir Putin was asked if the world is now heading toward World War III. His response? There is great conflict potential, and it is growing. It is right under our noses, and it affects us directly. Not a denial, not even deflection, but a grim acknowledgement that the world is being dragged into a multi-front crisis. Putin also referenced his country's involvement in building 2 nuclear reactors in Iran right now, warning the United States and Israel not to damage the sites or don't damage the sites or risk escalation with Russia itself. So I want to be really clear here, guys. Russia has boots on the ground in Iran. Nuclear engineers, military liaisons, and special forces guarding key infrastructure. If a U.S.-Israel strike hits those facilities, it's not just Iran that might retaliate now. You see where I'm going with this, right? It could trigger a direct military response from Moscow. And China, while publicly calling for peace, they're also buying 1.3 million barrels of oil per day from Iran and refusing to condemn any threats against America. So what we're seeing is the formation of a global axis, a realignment of enemies, one that includes Iran, China, Russia, North Korea, and a whole network of proxies that stretch all the way from Latin America to our own backyard. So this is the moment that we've been dreading, guys. The crossroads that history books never write about until it's too late. One more strike, one more miscalculation, and we're no longer talking about regional conflict. We're talking about World War III. So right now, inside the Situation Room at the White House, President Donald J. Trump is weighing the most consequential military decision of his presidency, perhaps of his entire generation. Intelligence teams have confirmed that Iran is now rebuilding its underground uranium enrichment program at the Fordow and Natanz sites. The Pentagon has already mapped out a 30-minute coordinated strike using bunker-busting GBU-57 bombs, stealth bombers from Diego Garcia, and aerial refueling tankers already positioned in the Gulf. So the order, as of now, the order has not yet been given. But sources say President Trump has signed off on conditional authority. The moment an Iranian retaliation crosses U.S. red lines, the strike is a go. But there is a catch, and it has nothing to do with missiles. Because if Trump gives the green light, it's not just Iranian air bases that light up, it's American cities. According to federal analysts, Iran's leadership may not survive a full U.S.-Israel assault. The regime could fall. And if that happens, the sleeper cells inside the United States are no longer waiting for orders. They could activate on their own as lone wolves, anonymous operatives, hell-bent on vengeance. So what does this actually mean? Well, Homeland Security has laid out several high-probability attack scenarios in response to a strike on Iran's nuclear program. Number one, we're looking at infrastructure sabotage, coordinated hits on power grids, data centers, water treatment plants, or rail lines in cities like Houston, New York, and Chicago. Another thing we're looking at is number two, mass casualty soft target attacks, malls, public transit hubs, stadiums where a single operative could cause hundreds of deaths with a suicide vest or a car bomb. 3, high-profile assassinations. Governors, military leaders, conservative media figures, or even Trump himself, all considered potential targets based on previous Iranian plots already uncovered. Number 4, cyber attacks on financial institutions designed to sow panic, freeze access to banking systems, and even trigger economic stability right before the worst happens. Well, if you think Russia and China would just sit back and watch, I want you to think again, guys. Analysts warn that while the U.S. is tied down responding to chaos at home, foreign adversaries could move on Taiwan, Ukraine, or even test NATO's Article 5 with cyber operations in East Europe. So this is the nightmare scenario, and it's no longer just a theory. This is being gamed out in real time at CENTCOM, the Joint Chiefs, and inside of the White House. We're no longer asking if the fuse has been lit. We're now asking how fast is the fuse burning, and whether or not America's prepared for what happens if it hits the powder keg. So now we return to the question that we asked at the very beginning. Is America next? Is this the moment that, we look back on and say, well, that's when it all changed? Because whether it's missiles in the Gulf or sleeper cells here at home or Chinese and Russian coordination in the shadows, what's clear is this: the White House isn't guessing anymore. They're bracing. Trump's national security team has elevated our country's threat level internally. The FBI is actively monitoring dozens of cities for sleeper cell activity. Intelligence officers are on red alert for asymmetric attacks. And military officials are standing by for a potential strike that could erase Iran's nuclear capabilities, but ignite a global chain reaction we can't fully control. So look, guys, this is not fear mongering. I hope you don't take this as being that, because this is not what it is. Unfortunately, this is our reality, supported by declassified briefings, real world troop movements, confirmed assassination plots, and now a war on the edge of going worldwide. Now, I'm not telling you this to scare you guys. I'm telling you this so that you can be aware and so that you're not blindsided by what comes next. So I really do hope that you appreciate this. All I ask is that you stay alert, follow real news, not spin, monitor your local situations, especially if you're in one of the FBI listed cities that I mentioned earlier. I want you to also prepare your home and your family. Now, that doesn't mean panic buying or anything like that. We don't need any kind of empty shelf situations. It means just simply reviewing emergency plans, having essentials ready, and keeping communications open. Support policies that secure our nation. That means border security, intel funding, and yes, calling out leaders who ignored the sleeper cell warnings in the first place. And of course, finally, stay informed, because this channel right here, guys, this channel will continue tracking every major development. I'm going to keep breaking it down, citing the sources, giving you guys the information that the media will not give you. I want you to understand that the fuse has in fact been lit. The world is watching. And the next 2 weeks may decide whether the war stays over there or it explodes here on U.S. soil. Now, if you found this report valuable, please do one thing right now. Share this video. Don't let your friends and family get caught off guard. Subscribe for additional updates, turn on notifications, and drop a comment with your thoughts, guys. Do you believe America is next, or can this still be stopped? I'm going to be reading through your comments. I'll see you shortly.